All right. Thank you all for tuning in to WJC LP Chicago 98.3 FM. And welcome to the show Money Talks, where all we talk is money. I'm your host today. My name is Jeff Badu. I'm a parallel entrepreneur and a wealth multiplier. I'm the founder and CEO of Baidu Enterprises Llc, which is a multinational conglomerate in the finance industry. And what we do is we provide a suite of financial services, including our marquee company, which is Badu Tax Services. And that's the firm that does tax preparation, planning, and representation for individuals and businesses across all 50 states in the U.S. And we also have clients that reside in over 25 countries at the moment. Then we have Baidu Investments Llc, which is our real estate investment company. And what we do is we invest in apartment buildings, rental properties on the south side of Chicago in efforts to restore traditionally underserved communities. To date, we have 125 units that we have under our control. Then we also have Badu Investments Llc, which is, Badu Life and Health Solutions Llc, which is our life insurance company that provides life insurance products and solutions to individuals, families, and small businesses. Shout out to my beautiful wife, Miss Yvonne Badu, for she's the CEO, co-founder and CEO of Badu Life and Health Solutions LLC. So shout out to my wife, Miss Yvonne. Then we have the Badu Foundation, which provides financial literacy education to the youth ages 6 to 18. And we teach them on topics such as budgeting, saving, investing, and scholarships. And then my purpose in life is to inspire and support the super hungry to take hold of infinite resources in order to create an abundant lifestyle. All right. And so welcome to my show, Money Talks, where all we talk is money. We're live today on the radio, 98.3 FM in Chicago. Right. So you can tune in on the radio, 98.3 FM in Chicago. You can also catch us online at WGHCradio.org. Once again, that's WGHCradio.org. And we're streaming live on Facebook and Instagram. So if you don't mind, if you're on Facebook and Instagram, just liking this video, right? Liking the video, sharing the video, tag a friend or two so they can listen with you. And then also typing in the chat where you're listening from. Just type in the chat where you're listening from so we can give you a shout out. And today, we'll be talking about how to get money for your business, right? Where do you find the money? Show me the money, basically, right? So we'll be talking about different ways to fund your business. I'll be revealing to you some of the sources that I personally use, that I have clients use that can get them business funding. So how to get funds for your business, where to look, all the different sources. Now, this is not an all-inclusive, right? So there will probably be action items after this. This is just giving you the meat and potatoes of how to get the business funding, right? There will be some work that you got to do. Before that, we do always like to do a market report, all right? So let's actually give a few folks some shout-outs. All right, so DST, let's see. DST Diva, Diva Forever. All right, she said, hey, Jeff. Absolutely. And then let's see. DSC Diva says, had to jump on when I saw you talking about how to fund your business. Absolutely. And then the Legacy Lady is listening from New York. All right. And then, we got somebody listening from Orlando, Florida. All right. Shout out to Magically Brewing Intentions LLC. I'm having a bit of a hard time seeing on Instagram just because of the brightness of the way they got the camera set up. I don't know what's going on with Instagram. And then we got DST Diva Forever speaking from Chicago, or listening from Chicago, I should say. Shout out to you. All right, so let's go through a quick market recap. I know today you came here to listen about funding for your business. We like to spend just 5 minutes talking about what happened in the market last week. Stock market, real estate market, gold market, dollar market, right? All the markets, basically. So we always like to do a recap. We spend about 5 minutes doing a recap, and then we go into the topic. So if you can just give me 5 minutes before I get into the topic, I'll be doing a market recap. So this is as of October 22nd, 2021, as of last Friday. Each of the benchmark indexes essentially advanced last week, led by the S&P 500, which is composed of the top 500 companies in the U.S. It rose up 1.6% last week. Because, why? So you always want to understand why the markets went up. Corporate earnings data for the third quarter, Q3, has gotten off to a solid start to help push stocks higher. However, investors are paying close attention to elevated inflation. Inflation is the diminishing purchasing power of your money, meaning that your dollar that you had a year ago can buy you less today if it was not invested, if it was not growing over time. Right? Why is it important to invest? Number one is to beat inflation. Inflation right now is at about 5%. Right? It's probably higher than that, but let's say conservatively, it's at 5%. That means things have gotten 5% more expensive from last year compared to this year. So if you're not investing your money, then I don't know what you're doing. You got to invest. It's a requirement, or you'll literally lose all your money in just a few years. So you have to invest your money. Where to put your money? That's the $1 trillion question. All right, so basically investors paid close attention to elevated inflation, driven higher by global supply chain constraints, thanks to COVID-19, and labor shortages, thanks to COVID-19. According to Chair Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve is closely monitoring price pressures, which may last longer than previously expected, increasing the possibility that the Fed, the Federal Reserve, may raise interest rates sooner than anticipated, which I don't think will happen, right? The Federal Reserve is thinking about increasing interest rates, but I don't think that will happen, all right? Especially not during a pandemic. Although when they increase interest rates, it reduces pressure on inflation, right? When you increase interest rates, inflation tends to go down because people have less money to spend, right? Less money to spend means there's lower demand, means there's lower prices. Simple economics. All right, so let's see. What else happened? All right. So on Monday, the stock market essentially went up. The NASDAQ, which is composed of the top technology stocks in the world, went up 0.8%. All right, Tuesday, the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 went up 0.7%. On Wednesday, corporate earnings began. Another day of favorable corporate earnings. And so the S&P 500 went up on Wednesday. NASDAQ also went up on Wednesday. And then Thursday, consumer discretionary shares helped push the S&P 500 up to 0.3% to reach a record high last Thursday. We did hit a record high in the stock market last Thursday. And the trend is continuing even today. Shout out to Tesla, by the way, for becoming a $1 trillion company. That's right. Shout out to Tesla for becoming a $1 trillion company, right? Elon Musk, I mean, I'm so proud of the man. He is the wealthiest man on the planet right now, by the way. And to go to $1 trillion, I mean, that's massive, right? Apple became the first one, and then you have Microsoft, and now you got Tesla. I mean, that's big, and soon companies will follow suit. So shout out to Elon Musk and the Tesla crew for reaching $1 trillion. That's a lot of money, right? So with that being said, stocks closed last Friday. They went up. So overall, the whole week, the stock market was up. Now let's see what's happened so far this year. The Dow Jones is up 16.57% so far this year. The NASDAQ, which is composed of technology stocks, is up 17.08% this year. The S&P 500, which is composed of the top 500 companies in the U.S., you hear me referencing them a lot, they're up 21% so far this year. S&P 500, record high, I've never seen this before, is up 21% so far this year. The Russell 2000 is up 16.02%, and the Global Dow is up 17.62%. Interest rates are at a measly 0% right now. Scary low interest rates. If you're not borrowing money to invest, I don't know what you're doing. And speaking of borrowing money, we'll actually be talking about that today. I mean, think about it. You can literally borrow money at scary low interest rates. You're talking 0 to 5% interest rates. and you got the stock market up 21% in the S&P 500. Now, wouldn't the savvy investor think, hey, let me go out and borrow some money at 4%, let's just say, and invest it to make a return of, let's just say you even made just 10%. You just made a 6% spread using somebody else's money. Of course, it's not guaranteed, but if you looked at the market trends, right, if you looked at a 100-year S&P 500 chart, you would notice that the market has gone up each and every year over the past 100 years, except for a few years. So with interest rates being this low, and you're not borrowing money to invest and make a return, especially in real estate, right, which is my personal favorite, then I don't really know. I mean, that means we need to sit down and talk. We really need to have a real conversation about money, because that means that somebody is on the up and up of money. The wealthy folks, what are they doing right now? They're borrowing money like crazy. Stupid amount of money. You know, there was a report today that Apple has borrowed $120 billion, and they got $70 billion in cash. All right, so if Apple is borrowing money like crazy, then what should people like you and I be doing? You know? And of course, Apple is not borrowing this money just for it to sit in the bank and eat dust all day. It's doing it to produce iPhones so they can sell it to you and I so that they can make money off of us in a good way, right? They're providing value in exchange for compensation. That's the way the world works, the cyclical effect. All right, so this week, what to look forward to. The initial estimate for the third quarter GDP, gross domestic product, is out this week. The economy advancing at an annualized rate of 6.7% in the second quarter. The latest data on durable goods orders is available this week. New orders increased by 1.8% in August. All right, so with that being said, it's the moment of truth. How to get money for your business. How to fund your business. If you're just now tuning in, welcome to my show, Money Talks, where all we talk is money. I'm your host today. My name is Jeff Badu. And you're listening to us live on the radio, 98.3 FM if you're in Chicago. If you're in your car right now, you can tune in to 98.3 FM on the radio. You can also check us out at WGHCradio.org. Once again, that's WGHCradio.org. You can listen to us online. We are a 501c3 not-for-profit organization, so you can always donate, and you get a nice tax deduction if you need a nice end-of-the-year tax write-off. And also, we're streaming live on Facebook and Instagram. All right, so two things, please. If you don't mind liking and sharing the video, all right, liking and sharing. And the third thing would be to post in the comments in the chat, hey, where you listening from, so we can give you a shout-out. Already gave some people some shout-outs. And with that being said, let's talk about it. Let's have a real conversation about how to get money for your business. We just did a 5-minute or so recap on the market, and we realized that interest rates right now are at literally 0%, right? According to the federal, at least the federal funds target rate is 0%. That means the banks are borrowing money. The banks, here's what a bank does, by the way. It's so nice to be the bank. It's so nice to be the bank. Bank of America, their profits are up tremendously this year. Tremendously. A lot of bank stocks. The reason why the stock market was actually up last week was because of banks, right? Their earnings went through the roof. That means they're eating, right? They're getting big. They're eating good steak. So with all that being said, what a bank does is when you go to deposit money into your checking account, a bank then takes that money and essentially goes to the Federal Reserve and says, hey, can you give me 10 times this amount of money? And oh, by the way, at 0% interest. 0% interest. And what they do is they take this money and they give it to you back in the form of a credit card, in the form of a mortgage, which isn't bad, a car loan, right? Or funding your life insurance policy, perhaps, doing the premium financing. So the best person to be is the bank, in my opinion. They make interest off of you. Even if they're making 4% interest, 3% interest, which is what they're charging you. And in credit cards, they're charging you about 20 to 30% interest. They're getting this money at 0% interest. So why in the world would you not want to be the bank? Right? Why would you not want to be the bank? So that's what banks do. And then they loan you this money at 2, 3, 4% interest. So then what you can do to win is you can take this money and go and invest it. You can invest it into your business and make, let's say, a 10%, 20%, 30% return. You can go out and hire people so that as they're producing, they're basically making money, and you're making money with them. You can put the money into advertising, right? Advertising. When we first started in Badu Tax Services, our return on investment on Yelp ads was 200%. 200%. Right? Return on investment was 200%, which was huge. Imagine if I went out and borrowed money at 4%, and then I'm getting a 200% return on that money. I mean, that to me is the best investment you can really make. So with all that being said, if you need money, or if you have a feeling that you can use extra money for your business to grow it, whether it be a tax business, a life insurance business, a retail company, a real estate business, I mean, they're handing out money basically for free nowadays. And so if you feel you're in need of funding, then there's a ton. And when I say a ton, I mean a ton of money that's out there that can be had for you and your business. All right. So you do want to have a decent credit score. You want to have at least a 640 or above credit score. And if you don't have the credit, go through some credit repair, maybe pay off a credit card so you can shoot up your credit score, or do what I did when I first started, use other people's credit in exchange for equity or interest, whatever it is that you decide to pay them. All right. You just want to make sure you have a decent credit score to start with, at least. You want to have a business, of course. You need to have a registered business, an LLC, INC. You got to have a business entity. If you don't have a business entity, you cannot get business credit. So you have to have an LLC established. Right? So in reality, that's the only 2 criteria to get started with business credit. That's it. Decent personal credit score, 640 or above. And then you also want to have a registered business. Without a registered business, you can't get business credit. Right? It sounds pretty, clear, but you have to explain these things so that people really understand it. All right, so one of the first things that you would want to do is, for one, and here, these are resources that you can look into. So I'll get into the specific programs in a second, but here are 3 resources I believe would benefit you. Number 1, check out my homegirl, Jerry Tolliver. Right, Jerry Tolliver. She runs a company called Fly Credit. Right, so Fly Credit with 2 Y's. So Fly Credit, and she can hook you up when it comes to business credit. Right, she literally provides a service that can hook you up with some good business credit. And you can also go to BaduEnterprises.com, BaduEnterprises.com. And there's a link that takes you right to the Fly Credit website so that you can get business credit. So that's one source. Shout out to Jerry Tolliver. Don't know if she's listening right now, but I know she's pretty good and has had a lot of success when it comes to credit. All right, see, I already see. All right, Legacy Lady says Fly Credit. All right, DST Diva Forever says we love Jerry. Absolutely. Shout out to Jerry Tolliver. All right. Feel free to tag her in a video, by the way. Tag her so that she can listen to this. And then the Skip app. Right. Use the Skip app. There's an app called Skip. SKIP. Skip app has helped me personally tremendously. Right. In that it can help you find alternative sources for business capital. And it breaks it down. It has articles on there. It has different ways for you to get business credit. All right. And then also NAV, NAV.com. NAV.com is a site where you can go to build your business credit profile, just like personal credit with Credit Karma, right? So you can check out NAV.com, so that it can essentially, you can establish a business credit profile, and it tells you what you qualify for. So NAV.com, that's what I started with, NAV.com, right? And this can help you see what business credit sources are out there. Now, when you're getting started with business credit, you have to, in a way, start with business credit cards. Your business only needs to be 1 day owed to get a business credit card. Anything that you've heard out there is a myth. It just needs to be 1 day owed to get a business credit card, right? You can get a JP Morgan Chase Inc. card, so a Chase Inc. That one you need about a 700 credit score and a registered business. You can get a nice limit. They'll give you anywhere from $10,000 to about $30,000 or so limit. 0% interest for a whole year, right? 0% interest for a whole year. And they give you cash back rewards. If you spend $3,000 within the first 3 months, you get about $500. Free money, free cash. So Chase Inc. INK card is a great business credit card to apply for. You need a 700 credit score typically. And when you go to nav.com and create a business credit profile, you can actually get hooked up with the Chase Inc. You can apply directly on a nav site. So business credit card is what you typically can start with. There's also the Pnc Cash Card, the Pnc Business Cash. That's a really, really good card to have. It's 0% interest for 9 months. They give you points. And then you can ultimately, you get a nice limit. You get about 5,000 or so to start with. This one, you only need a 680 or so credit score. So unlike the Chase Inc., where you need a 700, this one you need a 680. So this is the Pnc Business Cash Card. Pnc Business Cash Card, to me, it's the third best business credit card that's out there. And thank you to the Legacy Lady for putting out the notes on the Instagram chat. Appreciate you for that. So Pnc Cash Card. And then you also have the American Express, the Amex, the Platinum, right? The Amex Platinum card. They call this the unlimited card, basically. There is no limit on the card. They might put a small hiccup when you start, but eventually the card gets to no limit, so it eventually becomes a no limit card. I do recommend the Platinum. So they do have the Gold card. They have the American Express Gold card, but try to go Platinum, right? Platinum is where to be. And that gives you a lot more rewards. You get free global entry. I mean, the points are insane. I think it's 5 times the miles. It's more of a travel card, but you can use it for your everyday spending as well. For me personally, I like to use my Amex because it gives me the most points. And it basically, it's also one of those true credit cards in that you have to pay the balance in full every month. In my opinion, that's how a credit card was truly meant to be, right? Unless you're maybe investing in real estate or something where you need money from the from the line of credit to get the down payment completed, right? That's different. I'm talking about your everyday use. You pay it off, right? You swipe it, pay it off in 30 days. Swipe it, pay it off in 30 days. Swipe it, pay it off in 30 days. With this Amex, they force you to do that. And so for me, I like using this card because it keeps me disciplined and not accumulating a balance, right? I'm someone who's been in credit card debt before, right? So I know the feeling. So when you have a card like this that forces you to make the payments on a monthly basis, make it in full, I like a card like that for my everyday purchases because it keeps me disciplined. So this is the American Express Business Platinum card, right? No limit. You don't have a limit on the card. You can charge as much as you want on the card. You can even buy a car with the card, right? So, I mean, when you're starting out, use it for maybe your phone bill, gas bill, every day or every monthly bills essentially. And you swipe the card, pay it off. Any credit card you get, swipe it, pay it off. Now, if you're strategically using it for an investment, let's say 0% interest, and you're using it for down payment on your real estate, then that's fine, right? Leave the balance on there. That's fine. But make sure you have a plan to pay it off before the interest payments start. Interest is ugly. When you're getting eaten up by credit card interest, it is ugly. I've been there before. I felt the pain. You know, when you're getting eaten up by credit card interest, it is not a good feeling. So what you can do, maybe you're a savvy real estate investor, you can literally take the card, request a balance transfer, get money from the card, pull out the cash from the card. Let's say you got a $10,000 limit. You got a nice property that requires a $10,000 down payment. It's 0% interest, and they give you $500 if you spend, the first $3,000 within 3 months. Hey, all you got to do is request a balance transfer check, take out the cash, right? Take out the $10,000, use it for the down payment, 0% interest, and you ultimately just make the payments back on a monthly basis. You're required to make minimum payments, which, you're just required to make the minimum payments on the card. It may be like $25 a month. There's no interest on the card. And the most thing that comes from a credit card as far as payments is the interest component. I'm telling you, interest can eat you alive. So you do want to be careful when you're doing this. Business funding is nice when you know how to use it. Unlike me, when I first started, it was eating me alive. It was eating me alive. To the point where on a real estate flip, I almost had to file for bankruptcy. Right? Almost had to file for bankruptcy because I had accumulated way too much expensive debt. There's a difference between cheap debt, the good debt, versus expensive credit card debt, the bad debt. Right? You got to know the difference between the two. 0% interest rate debt, perfect debt. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. 30% rate debt, horrible debt to have. So between the choice of getting good debt at low interest rates, choose that over the higher interest rate debt. Right? You do want to be very, very careful when it comes to debt. If you're using it in the right way, you can truly use it to build wealth. All right, so that's business credit cards. And then once your business is about a year old, or actually six months to a year, right? 6 months to a year, more so on the year side, you can get a business line of credit. Business line of credit. All right, business line of credit. So you can literally go to your bank. Let's say a Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is very good at this. Wells Fargo can get you a business unsecured business line of credit for up to $100,000. Right, $100,000. As long as you're about, let's say, a year into the business. They want to see a tax return. They want to see you have some history. So when you get into the lines of credit, which is basically a credit card. So all credit cards are lines of credit, although all lines of credit are not credit cards. The difference between a credit card and a true line of credit is that a line of credit allows you to go online and say, hey, send me this money into my checking account immediately. Right? Send me this money directly into my checking account. They'll give you a checkbook, and you can literally write yourself a check for the amount. Unlike a credit card, where unless you request a balance transfer, they will not send you a check that you can just write your name on and say, hey, give me this $10,000. So a credit card, you usually got to swipe it to take the money out. But if you're savvy enough, you request a balance transfer check, or you can create a PayPal account, right? Move some money around that way. It's not usually recommended to go that route, because there's fees and everything involved. So the quickest way to get money from a credit card is to do a balance transfer check. They'll literally send you a check, a blank check, and then you can write any dollar amount on it up to the limit of the card. I do not recommend cash advances because they charge you fees and they might slap some interest on there. So we're not talking about a cash advance. We're talking about a balance transfer check, right? Or like a promo. Your credit card might send you 3 checks in the mail and say, hey, you can take out money from the card, right? And usually at favorable interest rates at 0%. I just got something in the mail from Citibank. Citibank saying, hey, we'll give you a certain amount at 0% rate for a whole year. Well, if you're a savvy real estate investor, you can take that money, invest it, and make a return, and then pay off the card with whatever your return is. It's real simple, but you do have to have the mind for it. So great banks to look for lines of credit. Wells Fargo is definitely top of the list. U.S. Bank is also pretty good at a business line of credit. Fifth Third Bank, you can literally walk in the bank and they'll hand you the money. I love Fifth Third Bank. They're so awesome. Chase Bank, they're a little more difficult than these other banks, but Chase Bank is good. Now, Chase is secured. So remember, there's a difference between an unsecured line of credit and a secured line of credit. Unsecured means there's no lien filings or anything like that. They don't require any collateral. That you don't have to do anything. Secured means they might file a blanket lien. Well, they'll file a lien on your business up to the dollar amount, so that if you run away, they can basically take away the assets of the business. Or they might attach it to a specific asset like inventory or equipment that you may have. All right. An example of a secured loan is a mortgage. A mortgage is secured by the property itself. That's why I love real estate, because I know the bank is always going to give me up to 75% of the money, because they know it's attached to the real estate, right? In some cases, they'll give me 80%, right? And then in residential case, in some cases, they'll give you up to 96.5% using the FHA loan. All right, so Chase is also there. PNC, another one. You can walk in the bank and they'll hand you the money, right? Legally, of course. OneTrust line of credit is also good. And then Citibank is good. BMO Harris Bank is good. Busey Bank is good. So let me repeat the list one more time. And also Bank of America, although I believe they paused their business line of credit program. All right, so let's go through the list one more time. You have Wells Fargo. All right, these are all lines of credit. Wells Fargo. And then you have U.S. Bank. You got Fifth Third Bank. Chase Bank. PNC Bank. OneTrust Bank. Citibank. BMO Harris Bank. And then Busey Bank. And then I want to add a last one, which would be Bank of America. These are 10 banks that I just named. And there's probably more out there that I'm not even aware of. That's the beauty of business credit. So you can literally go into these banks and apply for lines of credit. As long as you're about a year old into the business, you got some history, you do want to file your taxes. Without these returns, they won't even look at you. All right? They won't even look at you. Now, for a business credit card, you don't need tax returns. That's why it only needs to be 1 day old. You can use projected income. When they ask you, hey, how much income are you making? You can just use projected income. All right, we got one, Navy Federal. Absolutely, Navy Federal is also pretty good. That's good. Appreciate you for sharing that. Absolutely. All right, let's see here. Legacy Lady says that's great advice. All right, and then the leak. Let's see, the leaks. Strong advice. Watching from Nigeria. Absolutely. Shout out to Nigeria. All right, so that's a few sources that you can look into. And then, so that's like, so when we talk about tiers of business funding, we have the good tiers, meaning the business credit cards, I think are very solid, the 0% interest rates and all that. And then a line of credit, business line of credit is also pretty good. And then we have the not so ideal, but they'll get you the money. All right, not so ideal, but they'll get you the money. So I'm just going to name off a few sources for you. We have, by the way, let's actually talk about Tier 3, the SBA, the Small Business Administration. I think the SBA does a great job when it comes to funding small business owners with funding. So I put them in Tier 3. The reason why I put them in Tier 3 is because their documentation is extremely intensive. If you've ever applied for an SBA loan outside of the EIDL or the PPP loan, you'll notice that they're very, 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 very document intensive. Any government loan is extremely document intensive. So SBA loan, although it's very favorable interest rates, you got to know what you're doing. You probably want to work with an accountant, someone who understands the game and knows how to put numbers together. So we have the SBA EIDL loan. SBA Eidl Loan, which stands for Economic Injury Disaster Loan. You can get up to a $2 million loan at 2.75% interest rates. Actually, I believe they increased it. So 3.75% interest rates. 30-year loan. So 30-year loan. No payments due for 18 months, 18 to 24 months. And the loan amount is based on about 2 times your gross revenue for 2019 tax return or tax year. So 2 times 2019 gross revenue. So if you made $100,000 in your business, you can get a $200,000 loan, right? And this was also tied to the grant, the Eidl grant, the $10,000. So Eidl loan is pretty good. They have made the process a lot harder because of the amount of fraud and everything that was going on in the program. But Eidl loan is still pretty good. Unfortunately, PPP, Paycheck Protection Program, is gone. It's no longer here. That was free money, by the way. If you didn't take advantage, I don't know what to say. But that was basically free money. They were handing it over, and they gave it out twice. Not once, but twice. PPP 1 and PPP 2. That's gone, unfortunately. But these next two you may have never heard of. And I think it's very important. Number one is the SBA 7A loan. SBA 7A loan. This is a really, really good loan to get. You can get up to $5 million. Right? $5 million. And then they have express loans at $350,000. So you can get up to $5 million. It has both fixed and variable rates. Fixed and variable rates. And then the maturity, it's 25 years for real estate, 10 years for equipment, and then 7 years for working capital. It's typically about 10 years on these loans. All right, there are some fees involved, as with anything in life. And essentially, you have to be running a for-profit business. And the documentation process is very intensive. Very intensive. I would say you want to have at least 2 years worth of tax returns for the 7A loan. 2 years worth of tax returns. Right? So 2 years worth of tax returns. Tax returns are very important. Of course, if you ever need help with any tax return services or tax services, visit BaduTaxServices.com. Once again, that's BaduTaxServices.com. BADU taxservices.com. So that's the SBA 7A loan. Very, very document intensive loan, but it's really good money. Really, really good money. Really good money. So this is on top, by the way, on top of the EIDL, the $500K plus the $2 million, up to $2 million EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan. This is on top of PPP. And then even on top of 7A is the SBA 504 loan. SBA 504 loan. I actually want to do a segment just on this loan itself because I think it's very, very important. It's a loan of up to $5 million. And it can basically be used to fund real estate. Real estate. The terms are 10 or 20 years. And there's only a 10% down payment required on the building. A 10% down payment required on a building. This can be 100% commercial space that you're using for business purposes. Or it can be a multi-unit, a mixed use, where up to 50% or at least 50% of the building is being used for commercial purposes. So you can literally have, let's say, 1,000 square foot office space at the bottom unit, the bottom floor. These are usually known as commercial condos. And then on the top floor, you may have 2 units, right? 2 tenants above you that are paying your mortgage on the bottom floor, basically. All right, so this is an SBA 504 loan, 10 to 20 years, very, very favorable interest rates. And it's basically used to acquire a commercial space. So this is the 504 loan, right? These are very, very good loans to have. You can feel free to reach out to Jerry Tolliver. I'm sure she can share with you more details on that. Another source would be SmartBiz. SmartBiz is also pretty good when it comes to the 504 and the SBA 7A loan. So if you've been in business for at least 2 years, I recommend you check out the 7A, SBA 7A, and also the 504. And then if you haven't taken advantage of the EIDL loan, you should. You should take advantage of the EIDL. I mean, they're literally handing you the money. Right? No payments due for a whole 18 to 24 months. I mean, that's insane. That's insane. There's a lot that can happen in 18 to 24 months. 30-year loan. 30-year loan. Right? 3.75% interest rates. And let's see. Perry asks, does Badu Enterprises help funding properties? Yeah, absolutely. Reach out. Send us an inquiry on the website, BaduEnterprises.com, and we can hook you up. We can hook you up. Literally, go to Badu Enterprises, BADU Enterprises.com with an S, enterprises.com. And feel free to check out some of the sources that we have on there. All right, so that would be the third tier of funding. So you got business credit cards as the first tier. Second tier is a business line of credit through your bank. Third tier is essentially an SBA loan, right? SBA loan being EIDL, 7A, or 504. Shout out to Rashana. For listening, Rashana Scott on Instagram. All right. So that's how you can get funding. Now let's talk about the fourth tier. Number 4. Remember, the fourth tier is not the most ideal, but they'll get you in the door. So I'm just going to name off a few sources. Number 1, you got QuickBooks Capital. QuickBooks Capital. QuickBooks Capital can give you a term loan or a line of credit at nice interest rates, and you can use that to fund your business. Then we have Fundera. Fundera is very, very good at helping you find business credit sources. So Fundera is really, really good. Fundera, Fundera. You also have Allies for Community Business. Allies for Community Business. This is also pretty good. They offer about a 24-month term loan at about 3% or so interest rate. So that's pretty good. PayPal Credit. Shout out to Rashana. That's a great source. You know, we actually bought one of our first properties with PayPal Credit. PayPal Credit is great. They give you easy money. Easy money. All right. Cortez asked the question, do you assist applications for funding? Short answer is yes, we do. All right, just send us an email. Send me an email at jeffbadu@gmail.com. Once again, that's jeffbadu@gmail.com, jeffbadu.com. You can also go to our main website at baduenterprises.com, baduenterprises.com. So yes, we do assist with all these applications. I just named off like 20 plus sources for you, you know. So feel free. All right, let's see what else we got here. Funding Circle. Funding Circle. By the way, nothing I'm telling you today is something I personally haven't taken advantage of. All right, so all the sources I'm telling you today, I've personally taken advantage of already. Right, Funding Circle is also good. They're similar to Fundera. Lightstream, that's more of a personal loan. We try to stay away from personal loans, but hey, they will give you a decent amount. All right, Lightstream is pretty good. And then we have, let's see. By the way, another good business credit card is Capital One. Capital One business card. It is tied to your personal credit, unlike any other business credit card. So you do have to be careful with that, meaning it reports to your personal credit score. Business credit score, basically most business credit cards report only to your business credit profile or score. All right. And Rashana says, need you to save this video. Absolutely. So this is recorded, right? This is recorded on, you got Facebook Live, right? Facebook Live. So if you go on my Facebook page, you can literally rewatch it. And then also IGTV, it's also on there as well. So it's always recorded. I have a lot of other videos, and it gets posted on my YouTube channel, which is Jeff Badu on YouTube. And then our podcast, Money Talks Badu Edition podcast as well. All right, another source, Blue Vine. Blue Vine is really, really good. They get you a nice line of credit or term loan. Headway Capital is pretty good too. Credibly is pretty good. American Express Merchant, which I believe they paused the program temporarily, but American Express Merchant. And then PayPal. Rashawn already mentioned PayPal. PayPal is pretty good. Not only can you get PayPal credit, but also they give you a PayPal term loan as well. Right? Marcus by Goldman Sachs. That's more of a personal loan. Marcus by Goldman Sachs. They're pretty good. Street Shares. Street Shares is pretty good too. So Street Shares. Atria Ventures. You have to be very careful with them because that one is more of weekly payments. If you hear the term weekly payments, you need to be very careful, by the way. Weekly payments, cash advance. Oh, man, they will eat you alive. They ate me alive for about 3 years. So you do have to be careful with this one. You got to really, really plan it out. You have to have a solid investment opportunity and know you're going to make money from day one to take advantage of one of these. So maybe you need fronted capital, maybe for like 2 months in advance, right? So those cash advances, you know, anything that says cash advance is usually something you got to be careful, right? Interest rates are really, really high, and they require weekly payments. Weekly payments. All right, Lendio. Lendio is also pretty good. Lendio is really good. And then SoFi. SoFi, shout out to SoFi. SOFI. SoFi is really good. We only got about 4 more minutes, so let me wrap it up. Best Egg. Best Egg. That's for personal credit. Personal credit. Everything I'm naming, by the way, is business credit, unless I specifically say personal credit. Upgrade. Upgrade, that's personal credit. Lending Club. Lending Club, both business and personal credit. And then On Deck. On Deck is business credit. On deck, money on deck, right? And then if you do happen to need a business hard money lender for your real estate, check out Templeview Capital. Templeview Capital. I believe last year they had paused some of their programs, but I believe they are back. All right, Templeview Capital is pretty good, you know. And then Vizio. Vizio is also pretty good. VISIO for real estate. You got Vizio there. Lima One Capital. Lima One Capital is also good for real estate. So for real estate, you have, let me actually name you 4 sources for real estate. You got, let's see, Templeview Capital. And then you have Vizio. Right? Shout out to Rashana. She says she's using Templeview right now. Absolutely. Templeview Capital, Vizio. And then you have Lima One Capital. Lima One Capital. Right? And then there's one more that it's literally like it's literally rolling off the tongue. I'll let you know if I think of it in a second. All right. So Rashana says, but all or majority of the biz credit is gonna hit your personal credit with an inquiry, right? I wouldn't say majority, actually. Some of them don't. They don't hit you with a hard inquiry. If it's a business credit card, you best believe it's going to lead to a hard inquiry. If it's a business line of credit from a bank, you best believe. But from like Atria Ventures, you know, Biz2 Credit, and all these, you know, all these other more private sources, they're not going to hit your personal credit with a hard inquiry. So in Tier 4, no hard inquiry. Let's just put that. Tier 1, hard inquiry. Tier 2, hard inquiry. Tier 3, hard inquiry. Tier 4, no hard inquiry. All right, so that's why they can be a bit more favorable too. Fundbox. Fundbox is really good. Shout out to Fundbox. They've helped me tremendously over the years. Perry asks, can you remove hard inquiries? Absolutely. Just go through some credit repair. Right? You can also do some through Credit Karma if you want. So there you go. Those are some business credit sources. I probably named off about 40. So you probably want to rewatch this video. And remember, Jerry Tolliver is one of the best when it comes to business credit. Go to BaduEnterprises.com. There's a link. There's a link that we have on the site. You can click on it and you can literally sign up for her business credit course and also some business credit services. If you do need help with anything, feel free to reach out to me at jeffbadu@gmail.com. Once again, that's jeffbadu@gmail.com. JEFFBADU@gmail.com, or check out my website, jeffbadu.com. Right? Jerry posted, Jerry Bafor, he said, rewatch and take notes. Absolutely. Rewatch and take notes. I named literally 40 plus business credit sources that you can take advantage of. Now, I don't recommend you apply for all of them at once. Pace it out a bit. Create a game plan. Maybe 5 at a time. 5 every 6 months maybe. And try to go for the best ones first. Go in the order of tiers. Right? Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and then Tier 4. So just keep that in mind. You can get funding. You can get funding. I have clients that have gotten millions of dollars in business funding. Right? Millions of dollars in business funding. And what you can do with some of this, you can use it as down payment. If you're savvy enough, you can use it as down payment for your real estate ventures. And this is how we've been able to grow our real estate portfolio to a quite tremendous amount. And so with that, hopefully you gain some knowledge and education from that. We will be doing a segment specifically on SBA loans. SBA loans. We will have an SBA loan expert come and speak, right, on a 504, 7A, EIDL, and we'll do a segment on that. That's Tier 3. That's Tier 3. And then maybe we'll have a banker come in to do one on business lines of credit, and then probably talk about business credit cards. And I may have one of my funding specialists to come in and talk about Tier 4, where we talk about the more non-ideal business line of credit / term loans, basically. We call these the higher interest rate loans, the more of the loan sharks, basically. So if you hear loan sharks, the term loan sharks, it's usually them. All right. So Rashana says, we'll be stalking YouTube for the upload. Absolutely. So keep in mind, so the YouTube upload does take a few days. So if you want to catch this right after, just go to my IGTV. It's literally going to be posted as soon as we end this. So IGTV, and then also on Facebook, it's on our Facebook Live. I do have to run. We have a program that's starting right now. And so with that, thank you all for tuning in to WJC LP 98.3 FM Chicago. Right? And you just listened to the show Money Talks, where all we talk is money. With that, my name is Jeff Badu. I won't be here next week. I'll be teaching the Chicago Urban League. We will be streaming it live on Facebook at 6 p.m. And so with that, I hope you all take care and have a great rest of the night. Thank you.